Good morning. This lesson is for my Trig-Precalc class, but before I get started, I want to say I hope everyone is doing all right out there. I believe the title for this lesson is going over Chapter 5 practice test, which is our goal, so I'll just jump right in. So problem 1 actually had 3 possibilities. I'd like to work out each of the possibilities. You do need to know the coordinates at 150 degrees. My x-coordinate is minus square root of 3 over 2, and my y-coordinate is 1/2. So let's just go ahead and start plugging in. All right, so cosine squared of u and sine squared of u becomes cosine of u. Actually, we'll just say cosine of 150. We'll just go ahead and plug it in. Cosine 150. Let me make some more space here. I'm all flustered. That is a tough lesson to the last one. Kept going on and on and on and on. All right, don't carry over to this lesson. Cosine of 150 degrees times cosine of 150 degrees minus sine of 150 degrees times sine of 150 degrees. Well, my x-coordinate at 150 degrees is negative square root of 3 over 2, and I'm multiplying it by negative square root of 3 over 2, and I'm going to subtract that from my y-coordinate at 150 degrees, which is 1/2. So I get 1/2 times 1/2. We learned to write it 2. You can do this. There you go. All right. So a negative and a negative becomes a positive. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 3 squared. So squares cancel square roots. So now I'm going to get left with 3. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3/4 minus 1/4 is 2/4, or 1/2. I better get the same answers for these. Okay. I better get the same answers for these. Let's see how this goes. All right. So I'm going to rewrite this one. Let me draw a line in there to separate them. And this becomes 2 times cosine. Let me draw a better C. I'm having such a hard time. I'm tired. I'm making silly mistakes. 2 times cosine of 150 degrees times cosine of 150 degrees minus 1. Again, the x-coordinate at 150 degrees is minus square root of 3 over 2. So I get 2 times minus square root of 3 over 2 times minus square root of 3 over 2 minus 1. Well, I just multiplied this out. And I know that that turns into 3 over 4, but I'm multiplying that by 2, and I'm going to subtract 1. So let's see here. I get that, well, that becomes 6 over 4, okay? And I can make that minus 4 over 4. Well, 6 over 4 minus 4 over 4, that becomes 2 over 4, and that reduces to 1/2. All right. 2 for 2. Let's move on to the last one. I draw a line here, separate it out, and I get 1 minus 2 times sine of 150 times sine of 150. And my y-coordinate at 150 degrees is 1/2. Okay. So I get 1 minus 2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Which I could actually cancel those out, and I get 1 minus 1 times 1/2, which becomes 1 minus 1 times 1/2 is minus 1/2. So I get 2 over 2 minus 1 over 2, which becomes 1 over 2. So either formula you use, you're going to get the same thing. I'm going to cross off problem 1. Problems 2, 3, 4, and 5. I believe there's only one version, so I'll get through that shortly. Let me clean this up, and I'll be back. I'm back. I'm going to work out problems 2 and 3, and then I'm going to come back one more time and work out problems 4 and 5 and be done. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into this. This is really beating me up today. I'm having a tough day. I can do this. I can finish. All right, so let's go ahead and do problem 2, cosine of u over 2, which is a half angle. Here is the half angle formula. So let's just plug in a 150 for u. So I get plus or minus 1 plus cosine of 150 degrees divided by 2. Cosine of 150 degrees is a real fancy way to say negative square root of 3 over 2. So I'm going to get now plus or minus, let's see here, 1 plus, or 1 minus square root of 3 over 2, and this is divided by 2. Well, we don't want to have fractions and fractions into square roots. This whole thing needs to be in the square root. I didn't lose that yet. Let me make sure I keep all that in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 1 over 2. So this becomes 1 over 2. I'm going to pass that out. Those cancel out. And now I'm going to be left with, I have a feeling I'm going to get back to where I started. But we'll see. All right, so we get plus or minus the square root of 1/2 minus the square root of 3 over 4. Well, this, I can actually add these fractions together. I can get plus or minus 2 over 4, which is 1/2 minus the square root of 3 over 4. All right, and we can simplify a little bit more. Plus or minus 2 minus square root of 3 over 4, which becomes plus or minus 2 minus the square root of 3 over the square root of 4, which would become plus or minus 2 minus square root of 3 over 2. Now let me talk about this plus or minus. I'm not going to grade this on the test, but if I cut this in half, I'm at 75 degrees, and cosine is positive, x values are positive, so I can erase the minus. So I'm hoping that we can just get this far. Again, I'm more interested in manipulations of formulas, so that's what I will be looking for on the second problem. Let's look at the third problem here. Let me find a marker that works. I'm running out of markers. All right, so angle sum means that I want you to rewrite 150 degrees using angles. We know I drew a unit circle with a 60-degree angle. My coordinates are 1/2 and the square root of 3 over 2, and I put the coordinates for my 90-degree angle. So 150 to me is 90 plus 60. I plugged it into the formula. So this is saying the y-coordinate at 90 degrees is 1. The x-coordinate at 60 degrees is 1/2. Plus the sine, the y-coordinate at 60 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. Times the x-coordinate at 90 degrees, that's 0. Guess what? That goes away. 1 times 1/2, that's 1/2. And we're done. That one was kind of easy. So let me go ahead and erase this, and I'll come back and work on problem 4 and 5, and we'll be done. And hopefully I've explained how to work out these problems. So let me clean it up, and I'll be back. I'm back. So let's go ahead and work out problem 4 and problem 5. So problem 4, I wanted you to use the angle difference. So you had to figure out 2 angles that subtracted to 150 degrees. There's a lot of options. I picked 210 degrees and 60 degrees. My x-coordinate at 210 is negative square root of 3 over 2. My y-coordinate is negative 1/2 over 2. For 60 degrees, my x-coordinate is 1/2, and my y-coordinate is square root of 3 over 2. Let me make sure I'm on the screen here before I go any further. Okay, it's still on there. Okay, good. So all I'm going to do is plug in and work it out, and then that's basically it. My y-coordinate at 210 degrees is negative 1/2. My x-coordinate at 60 degrees is positive 1/2. Minus my y-coordinate at 60 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. And my y-coordinate at 60 is square root of 3 over 2. My x-coordinate at 210 degrees is minus square root of 3 over 2. All right, so let's simplify this. Negative 1/2 multiplied by 1/2, that becomes negative 1/4. Negative and a negative is going to give me to a positive. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 becomes square root of 3 squared. Squares cancel each other out. And I'm left with now a positive 3. 2 times 2 gives me 4. Minus 1/4 plus 3/4 gives me 2/4. And then that reduces to 1/2. Alright, so hopefully you're realizing this isn't that bad. Problem 5, we're solving for theta. So remember, we can break up a fraction. So this fraction now becomes minus 4. Let me learn how to write a 4. Minus 4 divided by 2 plus square root of 2 over 2 equals minus 2 plus sine of theta. Minus 4 over 2, that turns into 2. Minus 2, sorry. Plus the square root of 2 over 2, and that equals minus 2 plus sine of theta. Let's add the 2 to both sides. These guys cancel out. Square root of 2 over 2 equals to sine of theta. So we're looking for values between 90 degrees and 270 degrees where I want the angle, or I want the y-coordinate of the angle that makes square root of 2 over 2. Now, there's 2 locations on the unit circle where I have a positive square root of 2 over 2 for my y-coordinate. All right, there we go. But remember, I want my value to be between, my angle to be between 90 degrees and 270 degrees. So I have to choose a value that's on this part of the unit circle, and that angle is 135 degrees. If you would have said 135 and 45, I would have knocked off some points because that's not where I restricted the domain. So hopefully this clarifies how to answer our practice test. I'll go over any questions that we have in class together. Again, I hope everyone is doing all right out there. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.